Okay, cool. Perfect.
You're listening to Inside Real Estate,
Why are you laughing?
your source for all things mortgage and real estate related. The show that brings you all the hottest topics and insights directly from those who know it most. Now sit back and enjoy the show.
I just imagine someone like sitting back, unbuttoning their pants, and just enjoying the show.
Is that the same woman from the Waze app? Because that's what it sounds like.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's pretty good.
I mean, I feel like she's good looking.
Yeah,
yeah.
She does. She has that
But
voice.
probably not. I think it's just. I mean, if I had an accent, I think I'd be. Anyways, what's up, everyone? It's just Paul Apostolakis today. Salvatore Guzmano is flying to Cancun as we speak. Brad Weisger, unfortunately, had a family thing that he had to attend to, so it is just myself, which probably will make the show much, much better. Not to put them down, but they don't really add a lot of value, and they're not here, and I could say that. Probably not listening.
Yeah,
we have one of my favorite. I mean this wholeheartedly to the audience. He is one of my favorite agents. Every time I see him, it's like old friends. It's Kyle Desmond from Hall & Hunter. How are you, sir?
I'm good, man. Thanks.
Good.
Thanks for having me. This is great.
Thanks for coming by. I know.
Yeah.
I'm happy. This is probably going to, like I said, one of the best episodes. You don't have to put up with Brad.
That's just you, man.
Yeah,
I like
just,
this.
Yeah, the best
No
one.
offense to those guys, but
No. I mean, Brad doesn't add a lot of value, and Sal just always bitches about everything. So it's good. So obviously, I mean, we're going to talk about Kyle's past and how he got into the industry and kind of touch on that. And I just want to kind of get into Kyle's. So Kyle's a family man also. He's got a couple kids, and it's always interesting to me because it's such a demanding industry. And I do want to kind of talk to you about how you balance your life as well, being a real estate agent. I don't think we talk about that enough because it isn't an easy thing, because being a good agent is very time consuming, and it's intense at times, right? There's a lot of moving parts. So we'll talk about that. But first and foremost, man, obviously, again, thanks for doing the show. But how did you I always think it's interesting to find out how people got into the industry, because it isn't something people usually come out of college and they're like, I'm going to be a real estate agent, right? Or they're 10 years old. Very few are like, I want to do real estate,
right? Yeah.
So how'd you get into it, and how did you
It really, so in 2015, I'd been working for a food distributor that had a sales. And enjoyed it, but I just knew, I got to do something for me. My thought was, I've been around here my whole life. I grew up in Troy. Went to UD High, went to Michigan State, so I've been here my whole life, and I have my family's had a business, the funeral home business in this area for 100 years. So I'm like, I have.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah. So my family served the community for 100 years. My dad's been a funeral director for over 50.
One of the most stable industries, unfortunately.
And being in that service, and you're kind of seeing how what he did, and kind of having his own business was something that I always wanted to do. I didn't want to do it in that industry, but I thought if I could figure something out that would kind of play to my skills and the people in my circle and all that. So
were you involved in the funeral business at all? Or no?
Not really.
No,
I was in and around it for a little bit, but it just wasn't something I wanted to do.
Yeah.
You got to have this. You got to have a certain head for that. So, at the end of 2015, I think it might have been December 30th, I sat down at home. My wife was 7 months pregnant. Of course.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't she be?
And
I said, I got to make a change. So I kind of wrote down, what I could do. Like, what would my all the people I know, what would lead me to have some success?
What's really interesting about that is I did the same thing. We were having kids, and I really started making some really drastic changes in my career, which is crazy. But I do think a part of it is because we want to give our family a really good life.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, that was it.
That was it. Right. So you're like, I can only do so much where I'm at.
Right.
And if I'm going to do it, if I'm going to make a move, this is the only chance I got.
Yeah. No, and that's really what it was. And it was my father-in-law had been telling me for a while. He's like, man, you would be a really great realtor. I'm like, yeah, I don't, I have to take a class. Like, I can't, I'm done with that. Those days are
I'm not
past.
going back to school.
Yeah, no, I can't. I could barely study back then.
Yeah.
So I just sat down. I said, you know what? I went and met with a friend of mine who's in real estate, and he's like, you just do it. So I said, okay. So I got licensed and kind of jumped in with both feet.
So you quit your job?
Yeah, I quit my job.
You didn't do part-time. Like a lot of people, they'll do this.
No, I just said, if I do this, I got to go all in.
Yeah.
Like, I can't be, both feet in and let's go.
I think that's the right way to do it.
Yeah. And, it was, I kind of hit the ground running. I didn't know what I was doing.
So quantify that when you say you hit the ground running?
I just jumped in. I started at Max Brook in Birmingham.
Okay.
And I just, hey, I'm a realtor, and just started talking to people. And, the first 6 months it was like, whoa.
Really? You did well?
No, I didn't.
Oh.
mean, I did okay. I don't know what
Yeah.
I didn't really have. I didn't know it was going to happen. I was like, I'm going to give this a year.
You have to.
And see where
Smart.
I'm at.
That's really smart.
And so my wife, we just had our second, and she's like,
dude,
okay, so you're. The pressure's on.
Yeah.
And I remember actually my first client were my parents, which is actually
smart. Well, yeah, that's good.
So that was
Mom and Dad.
if I mess this up, sorry.
I need you to buy a house right now.
Yeah. So that I got that going, and then I just kind of slowly started, kind of clients, people calling me kind of out of the blue, and it just started to work. And by I want to say, probably May of 2017, I was like, okay, I could kind of see. What I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And then I made the decision to go to Hall & Hunter.
So talk to me about that, because I obviously we've had the Wolf Brothers on here. They're awesome.
Yeah.
They're like, and it's a more of a family-owned boutique type, and it's very, very specific Birmingham area, right?
Yep.
They do a really good job. So talk to me about the decision to move over there, because that's always interesting.
So it was, Max Brook was great. Really great people, great agents. And I enjoyed it there. But again, they're big.
Yeah.
They do a lot of business. They have a lot of agents, which is great. I just kind of felt like, you kind of get lost over there, and I'm newer, so
right.
Mike Parada, who's at Hall & Hunter, has been there for 18 years, who I've known since high school, so he got to talk to the Wolves.
Yeah.
I knew Ryan. I had met Brad.
Yep.
So we kind of set up a meeting. I told them where I was at, kind of what my vision was for my business and what I wanted to do, and they. We talked for a couple weeks, and it just felt right.
You felt
smaller,
smaller,
like a smaller family-owned business, what I grew up on,
right?
With my dad,
right.
And that's just something that spoke to me. And I was like, you know what? If I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it. I'm going to change once. I'm not going to keep jumping to different offices looking for the better deal. I just want to be comfortable where I am. And these guys, they got behind me, they supported me, and they kind of saw what I saw, and here we are today, and I'm doing well there, and they're still the same supportive guys they've always been. So it's been a great fit, and I think it really boosted me. I don't know if it was the change, but it felt like it was kind of like
it motivated.
Yeah, it motivated me. It kind of like reintroduced me, and I kind of just went to a little bit to the next level.
Yeah,
and I just haven't looked back, and still enjoying it there. So
yeah, it's always interesting to me to find out why because some people switch for different reasons, right? Better splits is what I hear a lot. And I'm not a big fan of that personally, because a better split doesn't mean a better place to work.
Exactly.
So a lot of agents I've heard, I'm going to go to this place because I have a better split. Well, you can take 50% of my money if your value is 80% more, right?
Yeah.
I don't care. It's the value proposition.
Right. And I think if you just look at the percentages, you're never. To me, it was not about the split.
Yeah.
I don't even think I really talked to them about it. I just told them what I had done, what I was getting, and what I think I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And they're like, all right. And it was, it just seemed like a perfect fit for me.
I think it's very short-sighted for people to look at the split. I mean, look, you might have a place that has a good split that can give you more value.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not saying that, but ultimately, I think if someone's going to make a move anywhere,
right,
you got to look at the value proposition. Again, I'll give you an example, right? For Quicken Loans, right? They take a ton of your money,
right,
but you close maybe 100 loans, right?
Yeah.
But where you're going to do a lot more value. So it just depends on what the value proposition is, where you're at. So that's interesting. And I know the Wolves actually, they're good dudes.
Yeah.
They actually care.
Yeah, they do. They're the good thing about them is, they've been in the business. They've been where we are. They've been where, Ryan was where you are.
Yeah.
So they kind of see every side of it.
Yeah.
And, there's been some situations that I've gotten in like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, no, we're good. Do this, do that. So it is that, and I think it's just, like I said, the kind of like family feel over there. You're not just a face. You're not a number to them. You're, hey, what do you need? Everything good? Hey, you want to do this? Let's do, they're always kind of offering things to help you.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, so let's go back a little bit actually. So how did you build your business? So you're in the industry. You're like you don't have probably a book of business obviously yet. No. So that's always interesting to me. It's like, so as a new agent in the game, or one that's even working that's maybe struggling, how did you start getting some headway in the industry?
I literally I looked at it as I have to be in front of every person I know.
Yeah.
And I know. I'm not trying to. I know a lot of people just because of, being around here and having connections, and I hammered the people I knew.
Yeah.
I didn't worry about people I didn't know, because when you start, for me it was one, I didn't have a marketing budget because I didn't have any money,
right.
So it's kind of hard to market.
Right.
And two, I was like, why concentrate on the maybe 1% I get from people I don't know? Let's concentrate on the people I do know.
Smart.
And that really took me from, you start and you want to market yourself, you want to send mailers out, you want to do. I couldn't do it, and I just, as my wife is thrilled, but a lot of networking, a lot of happy hours, buying people drinks, buying people dinner.
Yeah.
Getting in front of guys I knew in the industry, mortgage, insurance, title, anyone really, and that's just kind of how I've done it. But it's just through my circle of friends.
Yeah.
Is really how I've done it. I wouldn't even say I know everyone loves the sphere of influence. I mean, I guess my sphere of influence is my family and my friends. And now, luckily for me, I do come from a big family. I come from a family that has a business here. My wife's family is huge.
Yeah.
On both sides.
Yeah.
So I have just family alone.
Network
I have
right
a nice network. And then with my friends, my sister, my brother, my brother-in-law, my sister, I knew I had to hit the people I knew because that's how I'm going to build my business. And that was the only way I could do it.
And we talk about this a lot. And network in our industry there's a lot of ways to make money in this industry. There really are. You could buy leads, you could do mailers, you could do this, you could do marketing. But ultimately, and this is my opinion, and obviously, ultimately, if you want to be in this game for a prolonged period of time, you have to have your own network. And what people don't understand sometimes is like, well, I don't, they're not looking to buy a house. It doesn't matter. Go talk to them.
Yeah.
Sit down, talk with everyone. Have a coffee. Just get to know as many people. And then that always leads to something, right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be about business. Just get to know people and be like, okay, and yeah, by the way, I do real estate. But dude, how's the family?
Yeah, exactly. And that it's funny because I've gotten even the people are like, I'm not buying a house.
Yeah.
Well, I get their friends. Oh, I actually call Kyle.
Yeah.
So that happens, and it's it's proven itself. So.
Yeah. It's also being a good human, and you got to like a lot of people might do it. And I had a loan officer once a while ago, and I went to a meeting with him, and he was like with his buddy, and he was trying to sell him. It was the oddest thing I've ever seen. And he's like sitting there, he's like, yeah, interest rates, blah blah blah, and like I really think, and I'm like, dude, we got out of there, and I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you selling this guy? He knows you. You know what I mean? Like you sound like a used car salesman. Just talk to him.
I know.
And it does get weird because people don't really know how to like talk to people and not be weird about it when but like deep down inside there is a motivation. Not that it has to be sleazy or anything, but there is like, okay, I want to get business out of this, but ultimately that shouldn't be like the first thing like you're thinking about, right?
No.
It should be like, let's talk, dude.
Yeah. I see my friends. I don't want to talk about work.
No,
I kind of, but eventually, wherever I am, it turns into real estate.
Yeah,
everyone's got questions. You don't know. But really, no. It comes back to it's just the people I know, my friends, my family, and then even my clients that I have now. 95% of my clients turn into friends.
Yeah.
And that's a fun thing too. So I'm getting new clients. I'm also expanding. My network. So it's kind of and that's kind of how I saw. For me, the only way I could do this, and I knew after the first year that, okay, I think I can make a run at this, or just make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, with the 2 kids and my wife, it's just about them at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And like I said, my wife loves that a lot of my business is done in a bar at Mount Chalet.
She loves it. Yeah, she's so happy about that.
She's so happy. But
my wife,
she goes, she's like, only you can get away with this. I said, well. What do you want me to do?
It's always, and I'll tell my wife, and we'll talk about this. I'll say, I got to work tonight. And she's like, well, what are you doing? I'm like, well, I'm going to have drinks. She's like, that's work, dude? I'm like, I know. It sounds weird.
I know, it sounds bad.
But, I really have to go get drunk right now.
So are you Ubering? I'm like, to a meeting.
Yeah.
Just got to safety first.
Right.
But no, she's real supportive. And
you got to have support.
And she,
there's no way to do
for her to let me do it when I did it, which is horrible timing.
Yeah.
She's 7.5 months pregnant.
Yeah.
She's like, are you joking? But no, she's been great. I mean, she's, I think deep down she loves what I'm doing.
Yeah, of course. Well, it also gives us the freedom to be good parents too,
right?
Man.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, if you, this is the beauty of our business. Yes, it's very odd. We've got to do weird things that normal people wouldn't do. We've got to go do happy hours. But ultimately, if my kid's sick and I need to go pick up my kid, I can go get him.
Yeah. Drop everything, go.
Yeah.
And most people, whether it's a client or who, they understand.
They'll understand that.
Yeah.
It's not the end of the world if I have to go do something.
Yeah.
Look, we got to reschedule, right? So that's interesting. So it's interesting to me. A lot of people get into this industry as a real estate agent, and it's very scary because they don't have a book of business, and a lot of them gravitate to a place that's going to provide them leads, and they get into this situation where they need instant gratification. It is probably a faster way to start getting business, to be fair. You go to the lead route and you call these leads. It's a lot harder to go into an industry and then not really make money for a year, right? Yeah. So, in my opinion, I know it's harder and it's scarier, and you don't. But if you believe in what you have, then you should do it that way. Yeah, that's the way I look at it. Because if you are, here's the problem with leads, in my opinion. If you're on leads, you'll never get off them. Right. It's very hard to get off.
It's like a slippery slope, and you can't find your way back.
It's very hard.
No, and I know people have had success with that.
Sure.
And more power to them.
Yeah.
For me, it was I just couldn't. That wasn't an option to me. One, because again, I couldn't afford to buy them, and two, I think it's just, for me, it was more like a grassroots thing, man. Just hit the pavement and just kind of slowly, kind of build it out. And so it's been. But again, there's not a wrong way of getting it going.
There isn't. There's so many ways to skin a cat in this industry. There really are. There's so many ways to make money, and I'm not saying that leads are bad, because a lot of people make a lot of money.
No, but I get what you're saying. Yeah, right. I mean, there's different ways of doing it, and I think you find out quick. I've seen other agents who have come in, and I have a guy I know called me, and he's going to get into it. Yeah. And I told him, I said, I'm not trying to. I hope you get in and let's do some business. Yeah. But I said, it's not easy. I think people look at it as, well, I know people. I can be a real estate agent. Right. That's true, and that's what I said. But I knew that, well, it's gonna take a while, and it took me about 9 months to kind of get out of that. I'm making no money. It's a really, really big undertaking. It is. It's a big commitment, and it's an absolute grind. It is. There's not one day that goes by that you don't have fear. You know what I mean? You got to ride the wave. It's a constant. I think it was actually Simon Thomas was at Max Brook, and he goes, "You're gonna have to get used to the ups and downs, man." He goes, "That's the only." He's like, when it's good, it's good. When it's bad, you're gonna think it's never gonna be good again, but it will. Yeah. So get used to that. And I had a couple people tell me that after that, and Parada told me the same thing. He's like, you're gonna have a good month and think top of the world, and then next month you're gonna be looking around going, uh-oh. The hardest thing with that is that role. So everybody that's in the industry knows what we're talking about. Good month, bad month, good month, good couple months, right? Yeah. The hardest part about that is keeping your effort consistent. Exactly. Right? Because what'll happen is most people, and I've seen it, and even in our industry, you've got a really good month. Yeah. I'm good at what I do. I'm badass, dude. I don't, you know what I mean? All of a sudden you let off the gas a little bit. You don't work as hard, and all of a sudden, 3 months later, because you don't feel it right away, right, in our industry, because all that work is in our industry, so everybody understands, any industry that's this type of industry, the business we're getting today, that's all work we've done the last 6 months. Exactly. And when you stop working as hard, you don't feel that until 3 months later. Right. And you might, once it goes down, you're like, oh, shit. Yeah. And then it's like, I got to put my back, it's up and down, right? So it's hard to keep that consistent effort. It's a mentally, it plays games with you, and you got to be. It totally fucks with you, dude. And even if you think, oh, I'm good, it's not going to bother. No, I mean, there's times I don't sleep at night. Oh, yeah. Because you're just like, you start thinking down the road, and it's always worst case scenario sometimes. Yeah. So I've started to do, as you said, you got to just keep going. You can't stop and be like, you just got to push through it and know that. And even that's why it's funny, because there's times when you have a bad month. Yeah. And then you have a good month and you forget about it. Yeah. But it messes with your mind, because then it'll happen again. You'll freak out. Like, you can't. It's like, what am I doing? I think because when you're not, you don't have a set monthly income. Yeah. Things come fast, and you're going, whoa, and look, human nature is, if you're doing well, you're not going to work as hard sometimes. Right. And it's hard to train yourself to say, hey, I just made a sweet check, and feel like you still have to grind as hard. Oh. And the difference, actually, the reality is, you actually have to almost like grind harder. Right? To keep that going. Yeah, because you're really only as good as your next deal. I mean, and your clients, and that's the thing, your clients deserve your best. Yeah. And that's something that was pounded into me at a young age by my dad. You have the families that he serves, the clients I serve, they come first, regardless of if it's a small deal, big deal. They're all the same, and that was probably the biggest transition to me, because at the beginning you're worried about you. Yeah. For the first, I was like, I got to get a commission. No, now I don't even. I tell people all the time, I don't care about me. This is about you. Let's get you this house. Don't worry about me. Hard. Don't worry. It's hard, but I think once that really, I think that's that's kind of shown with my clients. Like I put them above everything, because that at the end of the day, this is a big personal purchase. Yeah. And you got to make sure they get what they want, or at least bust your ass trying to do it.
When you get to the point in your career where you tell people no,
Yeah.
and because you're doing what's right for them instead of saying yes because you want the deal,
Right.
that to me is that there's a big transition point at that point, because you're really now providing a lot of value to your clients.
Yeah.
Because your clients, they need, look, better or worse, a lot of people that do a transaction, they think they know what they want sometimes, and it's difficult for you to kind of tell them, no, that's really not what you need right now. Right.
Yeah.
I've had people try to get a pre-approval, and I'm looking at their ratios. I'm like, I mean, on paper we can get this done, man, but I wouldn't go that high.
Yeah.
And that's counterintuitive because I get a bigger commission potentially, right?
Yeah,
but that's not what's right.
Right.
So it's difficult to do that. But when you get to that point in your career, I think it's really powerful.
Yeah, no, and I think that, for me, has really been, I treat every client I have as it was my mom or my dad, my brother, my wife.
Yeah.
Because really, that's really all, at the end of the day, it's all about. And the people will, I'll do whatever it takes to get them what they want, or at least, do whatever I can to at least get them a shot at getting the house they want.
It's funny that you say that, because I've said it to clients before, and it was in the process of me almost scolding them, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like not listening to me, right? Because I've had clients before where they didn't feel like they had a refinance a while ago, and it made so much sense. The guy's like, I don't feel like doing it. I go, listen, I'm going to talk to you like you're a family of mine.
Yeah.
You're an idiot if you don't do this.
Right.
Because I owe it to you to make sure that, look, ultimately, if you don't do it, that's on you. But
Yeah.
I have to try to do my best, because it makes too much sense for you not to do it. And I know that sounds self-serving, but it wouldn't be like this staunch if it didn't make sense, right?
No, exactly.
And people respect. They want to have someone that has their back. Now they might not do it, or they might not listen to you, but ultimately they'll remember that.
Yeah.
Right.
No, exactly.
So talk to me. So obviously you said a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old.
Yeah.
You've got a wife.
Yeah.
So basically, there's a lot of responsibility there.
Yes.
And in our industry, it is intense,
Yeah.
right? Like you said, we don't sleep at night. We're always thinking about how we can get better. There's always you always have to fine tune. It's like a race. Someone's always going to chase you down. How are you balancing that? Because it's not easy. It's difficult to make the wife happy because she has demands.
Oh, yeah.
The kids have demands, right? It's tough in our industry.
Yeah, it's for me, it's kind of a never stop thing. Do what I can for them. You gotta work. You gotta have family. It's a balance, and I think in this industry, it's hard to do. But once you kind of just, again, it's almost like your everyday job. You just kind of got to just deal with it.
It's funny.
And the kids are now with, my son 5 and the kindergarten to school. Like, he's going to be bringing home homework soon, which is not
gonna. Our lives never get easier.
No,
there's never a point.
So, we just, my wife works and she works her butt off too. And I think we've just we just do what we have to do. I mean, there's no, I don't have a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
She kind of does and doesn't. So we just kind of adapt and then just do it.
I always say this. It's like there's nothing in my life that isn't work, for better or worse, right?
Yeah.
Like when I'm at work, I'm working. When I'm at home, I'm working to be a good dad.
Right.
I'm working to be a good husband, right?
Yeah.
That stuff all takes work, and I think. Unfortunately, in our industry, I feel like divorce rates are pretty high because it's so demanding, right? And we're, out having cocktails, and you've got to have a wife and a family and a really good person there that has faith in you, right?
Yeah.
It's a weird industry, right?
Yeah, no, I mean she knows what I'm doing all the time.
Yeah.
I think sometimes I don't know if she agrees how I'm doing it, but she knows at the end of the day that I'm doing it for her, for them, and I'll do anything for them. And that's really what it comes down to. So if I have to take a call at 9 p.m., if I have to do a showing at 8 a.m., if I got to drive somewhere and do a close, you got to do it.
Yeah. And they have to be understanding. It's tough, though, too, because it's like they have needs and wants. Like shit, man. We were going to have dinner. I'm like, well.
Yeah. Exactly. Right? It's like, what time are you going to be home? What time are you going to be But it's, I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah.
Right now. I mean, it's fun.
Yeah.
And, our lives it's chaos, but it's controlled chaos.
Yeah.
So
look, no matter what, I mean, I always told my wife, I go, listen, I could go make a little bit of money somewhere and have a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
But you're not going to be happy with that. I'm not going to be happy with that.
No, you got to and I mean, it's, she knew what she was getting into when I went into real estate and, but it's, I think eventually, as the kids get older, it probably won't get any easier, but I think we're getting used to it. I guess that, we're getting used to the controlled chaos because, like I said, that's all we can do.
It's like working out. It really is. Like when the moment you think you can't handle anymore, something else gets piled on. Yeah. And then you think, man, if I didn't have, if that gets removed, you're like, oh, that was then things get easier. Right? Well, it just happens. It's the evolution. It is an interesting thing, man, because it isn't an easy thing to do for us. So what are your goals, man? Like, what are you looking to do going forward? I mean, are you like looking to just be the best agent you can be? You know what I mean? Is that where you're at?
Yeah, I really, I don't, my goals are always just to, kind of continue growing my business, continue growing as an agent.
Yeah.
Every deal you learn something new, and you just kind of refine, or just, you kind of sharpen your skills. You kind of sharpen who you are as an agent. That's really, for me, is just become a better person and agent every day. And that kind of all leads into the same thing, whether it's family or business.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think for me, it's I want to grow. And, like I said, me and Mike Parada at Hall & Hunter, we're kind of quietly partnering up. Eventually we're going to, we'll unveil everything, even though I just kind of did it there. But no, we're kind of starting to see the big picture for both of us.
Yeah.
But for me personally, yeah, man, it's just to continue to grow my business, and just become the best agent I can be, and for my clients. And I don't really, I'm the kind of guy, I just put my head down. I don't, obviously I want to make money and do all that, but I can't worry about what's, what I want. I just put my head down and go, and I can't.
I always say
can't
this.
worry about it.
I say I can't control what I can't control.
Right.
Like Brad the other day was like, well, we need more money, basically. And I'm like, of course we do.
Yeah.
I know that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't care. I can't control anything that you're going to tell me on that side of it. All I can control is putting my head down and doing the best job I can every day.
Yep.
And it's either going to come or not.
Yeah.
Right. I can't. I can't worry about what I can't control. I stopped doing that a long time ago.
Yeah.
Because that's what will drive you crazy.
Exactly.
If I worry about the things I can't control,
Right.
I'm dead in the water. I just have to excel at what I can control.
Exactly. That's well put. Yep.
You know what I mean? I mean that's really the end of it. So we were also talking before the show started how fragmented our industry is, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we just so everybody across the country. I mean, every state is a little bit different, but here in Michigan,